Hello, everyone. Welcome to another scene for Sept of the Howling Winds, Werewolf San Diego. In our scene today, turning from a fatal experience with black spiral dancers, and we will pick it up with them and what they are doing.
All right. The group of Garu, after their mission, are very silently returning to the Sept. They probably didn't talk much on the way back. Um, they are probably going to be greeted by Gabby, I assume.
Yeah, if you want to say she's on duty for like the ease of it.
Yeah.
She's patrolling. Are you guys like carrying his body? Like, is it visible when you come up?
I think binary.
Yeah.
Yep, binary is clinging to the body. And as soon as they got out of the vehicle upon returning, like as soon as she had enough space, would it probably have reverted to breed.
Okay. Sierra will look to Gabby and she'll say, "Gabby, we need some cleansings and such. We need to speak to the Den Mother ASAP."
Yeah, I can. I think I can do that. And do you want me to roll for rite of cleansing? Cause yikes, I can try.
Please.
All right, let's see here. It's charisma rituals, diff 7.
Well, it depends on the severity of the worm taint that we have on us. I think.
Yes, it does vary.
Okay.
So is it a higher diff?
They weren't actually in a hive. It was just where a few of them are living. I go 6. Let's have 6.
Oh, I did it. Yeah, she'll take out her supplies and surprisingly competently cleanse y'all. And she's not gonna try to say anything as it's happening. But once it's done, she'll make a come on motion with her hand and lead them towards Dazzles' house. And if she can fall in next to Sierra, just give her hand a squeeze.
Sierra will definitely squeeze back. You can definitely use one of her buddies right now. As they make their way over to wherever Dazzles and Kate are at.
I'm going to go ahead and say that Kate is inside the cup house, probably doing one of her usual chores, which is sweeping up.
Dazzles would be found in the back, either in the back in the garden or we'll just actually say she's in the living room. Kate finishes sweeping.
And binary's motions are going to be very numb and probably provoked mostly by Cole either blatantly leading or nudging or what have you. But she is completely consumed with just cradling and holding the body and is blatantly grief-stricken.
Everyone, every once in a while when they move to follow, Cole will just gently put a hand on her back and give her a little push, or like a little tap.
Yeah, she doesn't seem to be paying attention for the most part, but even just like a hand kept on her back or shoulder or arm will keep her kind of ambling thoughtlessly.
So are
Like,
all of you coming into the cup house, or like with the body?
I was gonna knock on the door first.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would probably be a good idea.
I'm not just gonna burst into Dazzle's house and be like, "Hey, guess who died?"
She hears the knock at the door. She will get up and open it. Takes a to rouse herself, put her book down, get to the door, and see Gabby standing there.
Dazzles, I'm so sorry, but oh wait, did my mic stop? No, it didn't.
No, you're good.
No.
I'm so
Good.
sorry, but there was a problem. The most recent mission. And she'll just kind of step
face.
to one side.
All
Kate will
for
stop
Kate.
sleeping and just watch what the dead mother does. Not sure what's going on.
Will actually motion for Kate to come with her as they are going to go outside. She says, "We need to be outside for this." It's grief-stricken Garuk frenzy. She does not want that in her house.
Fair enough. But Kate just follows the dead mother's wishes. She takes the broom with her and she sort of grips it almost worryingly.
Around Kate and get several yards away from the house before turning back to the group, I guess, of Garu that are there.
I imagine that as soon as forward momentum kind of stopped for any prolonged period, Binary has kind of sunk herself down, still in breed, just cradling the broken corpse. I imagine that somewhere along the way she's nudged his eyes shut, but she's going to continue holding him as gingerly as she would if he was still alive. And probably still has fat tears just rolling down her muzzle.
Cole is oops, sorry.
Oh, go ahead. You go right ahead.
Cole is just right next to her with a hand on her, making a very he's very visibly shaken up with misty eyes and general redness in his face.
Clenches her fists. Binary carrying Lefty. She walks over to him. Confirms what she already knows. And takes a raid.
Yeah, especially as she gets into kind of the personal space range. Binary responds at least a bit to someone else in her personal space, but recognizing who it is just kind of starts keening in a pained fashion.
Kate stood stock still. She was in Hamid form. Her knuckles turn white as she grips the broom. She goes white as a sheet. And her eyes are very, very wide. And she's just very, very still. Dead silent.
Manages to keep her cool. over Lefty and his death. She binary, and then she's over to Kate.
Kate takes a couple very measured steps forward, almost like she's afraid to. And it seems like once she starts, she just can't stop. And she starts off with slow, measured steps and then ends up at a run until she gets to binary.
And yeah, she gets closer. It's definitely not pretty. He had his abdomen gored open and at least one organ straight yanked out of his body. He's a bloodied mess. But the part that's likely to be more shocking is that Binary again seems very numb until Kate gets within a certain distance. And the change is very, very abrupt. It's very sudden. It's very uncharacteristic as when Kate gets, again, within that certain kind of purple circle range, gets within a certain kind of personal distance, Binary all at once goes from this keening and mourning to her hackles very abruptly jump straight up. And I'm sure that anyone who's been around Gru for long enough will recognize the immediate shift in posture to a more threatening one, and she kind of snaps her head up and makes, God help her, a snap in Kate's direction, lips pulled completely back, ears pinned flat against her head. She goes from mourning to completely vicious in about 0.3 seconds.
Yeah, if Dazzles wants to react, she can go ahead. I have Sierra's reaction to that ready.
She probably won't do it when Kate is quite close enough to actually get bitten, but it's definitely a very abrupt change of character.
Yeah, about that time that Binary does that, Dazzles grabs Kate. Seemingly very strong. Her Hamid form. She has no problem snapping Kate right up. Protectively, and kind of just stares at Binary.
If no one's gonna interrupt, Sierra's gonna go ahead and
ahead.
The first thing Sierra's gonna do is take a point of rage. And she is going to stand up. Well, she's already standing up. But she is going to walk towards Binary.
And for the most part, Binary was distracted. Once Kate is yanked out of that weirdly personal little range, she slackens up some. And Sierra won't get nearly as negative a response, but it's still it's kind of an idle bristling, almost possessive.
Sierra is going to kneel in front of Binary. She's not going to make a move towards Lefty or towards her. However, she is definitely within snapping range. And she is going to look Binary directly in her eyes. And Sierra is going to say, I understand what you are going through right now. But do not ever raise your hackles and threaten another Garu like that in a time like this again. Do you understand me?
I have a quick question.
Go for it.
Hey, is Kate wearing that gold chain?
You mean the necklace Lefty gave her?
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, she takes a point of rage, too. It's okay. It's all good.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. It all
I just... There's all sorts of things. And yeah.
Kate's face looks stricken, and she shifts to Lucas form, takes the necklace that falls off of her wolf form into her mouth and runs off.
She's being held by Dazzles. She can't do that.
Yeah, that was my question.
You can
Can she shift that way?
She can shift, but she's not going anywhere.
Well,
Even in Lupus, Dazzles can hold her.
Okay. Well, then she tries to run away.
Dazzles is not letting her run off. And as a matter of fact, Dazzles is the holdover.
And yeah, Sierra will say this. And for the most part, Binary seems more interested in whether or not Cape comes back into range again, though she will, especially with Sierra, like staring so hard into her face, will eventually turn around to meet eyes to eyes. And the bristling that follows is definitely defensive rather than aggressive. There are slight shifts in posture and whatnot that indicate these things. And she answers stiffly and angrily, "You don't know."
Fine. But you are not going to make any more dead Garu. You can be angry. You can angst. You can shout at me. You are not going to bare those teeth. Not today.
And there's believe it or not, there is such a thing as like defensive and even a submissive curl of lips, believe it or not. So there's still like that tugging at the lips. It's definitely not a threat display. And she kind of finally tucks her head over the body again. Very almost, I won't say sulky because that kind of belittles it.
Morose.
But yeah, that works in a kind of a more morose tone. For all that you know, Krynos totally have a range of tone. Remarks, "You didn't hurt him."
Oh, I didn't catch that. She said you didn't hurt him?
Mm-hmm. Goes back to settling the bulk of her attention on the body.
Of course, yeah.
Even going so far as to lower her big old shaggy head and set her brow against his.
Okay. Once it's obvious that Binary's kind of disengaged from this, also that the hackles are no longer up, Sierra will get up and look over to Dazzles and ask, Dazzles, I am unsure of how to handle things when one of our own has fallen here.
First, she's going to give an order for every Garu present to shift back to their Homid forms.
Kate does so.
Yep, Sierra's been in Homid, so she just she'll stay in Homid.
She puts the necklace back on.
And after Kate shifts to Homid, she'll set her down and then relax back into Homid herself. She looks at Binary very expectantly.
And Binary definitely hears, because you see her ears flick back again. But she just kind of shrugs Lefty more securely into her arms and, at least for the moment, refuses. Because, let's face it, in Hamid, she's not big enough to really support his body.
Kate will try and take another step forward.
There's some magical
Kate?
imaginary line there. I will assume that she does not quite hit it.
Dazzles will say to Kate, "You stay here." She marches right up to Binary, and Dazzles is about 5'9", 5'10" in her Hamid form. Still towers over her. But she looks up at her.
Oh, I mean,
Very
Binary is
sternly.
like huddled on the floor, so or on the ground.
Oh, she is on the floor? Okay, she's on the ground. Okay. And she's going to
Yeah.
look down at her very sternly, but there is a softness in her eyes. She will say, "I know that you are hurting. All of us are. I need you to get out of this threatening form to your Hamid form now. Put Lefty down. This is not a request."
And it looks like she's starting to get through until she says put Lefty down, at which point the big arms, the big like shaggy arms flex more firmly around it, and she hunches down in a very obviously defiant posture.
Oh, don't make me do this.
Cole,
Sierra has
Cole.
another idea.
I can help.
Sierra, Sierra's going to look to Dazzles and she's going to ask, Dazzles, Raya, may I?
I say I'll let Cole do a thing. He was saying he don't want to do things.
Oh, if Cole wants to do a thing, let Cole do a thing. I'm sorry. I
Yeah,
didn't catch Bobby. I'm so sorry.
it's all good. Cole's gonna stand up and try to put himself between the Den Mother and Binary. Just gonna say, with respect, Raya, we were meant to be in a pack. Just, she can just have more time.
I was supposed to be in that pack too.
And the head rears up again. She doesn't go full threat display again because Kate is still just on that side of that weird imaginary line. But one of the big paws comes up and she points. And I mean, I don't imagine anyone else would pick it up. But Kate knows. She's pointing right at the neckline. You.
Cole,
You are
Now
either.
is not the time, Binary. And she looks at Cole. She is still my cub. I gave her an order.
And she will, God help her, she continues.
Cole will notably like look at her chin, like specifically to veer as far away from eye contact as possible. Say, Raya, I hold a low rank. I own no property. I ask of you. I beg of you. Please. We could all please just give Binary some space. Please.
She does not like being told what to do, especially by those of lower rank. But with him saying please as many times as he has, give a slight nod, and she will say, I didn't mean that she had to leave him. I just wanted her in her Hamid form.
She's not as strong. She's not violent right now. She's just can't let go yet. It's too soon.
Somebody tell me what happened.
Raya. She kind of stepped forward to kind of, indicate that she gonna tell her. We tracked Desiree's father to an apartment building where there was a good amount that was packed there. We eliminated most of the opposition and managed to capture our mark. And Lefty was called away by some human. He seemed to have questions about some of the noises he had heard, but it was a distraction, as one of the spirals, he must have stepped sideways during the conflict, and I missed him. And once Lefty turned around, he plunged his claws into Lefty, and we didn't have enough time.
There's a small strangled gurgle that comes from the throat, which she quickly cuts off. And anyone who sees her can see her hands grasping at the necklace.
I'm sorry, Nikki, I didn't catch that. Her hands do what?
Grasp at the necklace at her throat.
Okay.
When Dazzles hears this, she will grab. It's not a hard grab or anything. She just kind of pulls Kate to her.
Kate is shaking, and there are tears that have been running down her face.
Dazzles will sit down and and tears will start to fall down her face as well, and she will cry with her.
Kate gets into a position where she curls in on herself. She rocks back and forth, letting out this very high keening mourning sound.
At this display of emotion, Cole, does that thing where the muscles around his nose start to primally like flick as he's trying to hold himself down, and his face lightly starts to contort as tears begin to roll down his face.
Dazzles will just sit there and hold Kate. She would hold Binary too if she'd let her, but Binary needs her space, so she will later.
Is there like a tree nearby?
Sorry.
Yes, Gabby, there are trees nearby. You've been
Gabby,
there. You've seen it.
Yeah, I wanted to. I don't know how far away. Anyway, she's gonna go up to one of them, like walk away, and give it a really hard punch and say a quick like sorry to the spirit.
And I think with all of these Garu grieving, we can probably go ahead and end the scene.
Oop, just quickly.
As soon
Yep,
as
go
Kate
ahead.
can, she's going to take off.
Nope, Dazzles isn't letting her go anywhere. She is told to stay.
And while binary
Not
can
to be left alone.
Yep. Binary can be discouraged from the action pretty readily. All someone has to do really is just kind of stand in her way and she loses interest. But sooner or later, she'll end up picking up her head and turning it about. And unless someone does bar her from doing so, will eventually rouse up with the body and try to just slowly amble towards that big tree where she and Lefty had been working on the tree house.
Kate will not let her go. She will stand in her way.
That is completely different from anyone else standing in her way.
Yep.
Yeah. So she just kind of slowly at one point turns her head in that direction. I mean, to anyone who has any idea it's there, it's pretty clear kind of where her head is. And she does slowly rouse up, very carefully minding the body all the while. And yeah, she will orient in that direction. And as soon as Kate gets between her and where she wants to go, she will not necessarily immediately go on full aggression, but she will start rumbling out a very thick growl and warning.
Kate's hands are balled into fists, and she looks at Binary. And this is the first time I really think anyone's actually seen her angry. No. You do not get to take this decision for me. You don't get to take this for me, and you don't get to have him.
You
No,
are either heartless or stupid.
You're not
Stop it!
grieving.
Taking a point of rage.
I need
Yep.
Kate and Binary to both take rage and roll it, please.
Yeah.
It is diff 5.
Okay. Because Sierra's getting up and she's about to turn up right now.
It's diff 4 because I'm in Krynos.
Yep, I should mention as die are being rolled. That coal is right there at left binary side.
Yep. Let me do math. I'm trying to remember where I ended up.
You went into combat. The thing with Lefty happened. You should be at 5, I think, because you took a rage earlier during the scene.
Think, yeah. Well, I've taken 2 in this scene.
Oh,
I
my
took
bad.
2 and spent 1 in the last scene. So that puts me at about 6.
Oh boy. And Kate should be at 4.
Brawl, guys.
No, Kate should
Watch
be at
this brawl.
5.
She rolled the 5. She good.
Yep.
Oh.
She's so bad at being frenzy.
Yeah. So Sierra will continue on unless, y'all want to run over her, which is fine. That's totally an icy decision that can be made.
No, Dazzles will let Sierra handle it. She was actually about to get up, but she'll let Sierra.
You two are right. Well, you, Binary, are right. I don't know what you're going through. I'm going through my own thing right now. However, something I do know is what happens when we sit here and just let this body go without doing any of the proper rites. Do you all want to know what happens? Because I am very okay with telling you. Fight about this, not do things properly, and I can sit you down and have a very, very, very long lecture about what happens to ancestor spirits that don't get a chance to go to their homelands. Or you're going to do what is right. If you have personal shit, you are going to handle it later. Is that understood?
Kate nods. I'm sorry, I forgot your character's name too.
Sierra.
Thank you. Sierra. It's a bit emotional. Sierra's voice seems to get through Kate's anger and sadness and utter mourning. And she's able to contain her rage. She is able to nod, but she knows that if she starts saying stuff, she won't stop.
And by now, Binary's lips have curled back again. Not again. She hasn't gone quite as harsh as she did the first time around. But there's that pull of lips, and the breath has gotten a lot harsher. She's riding on a lot more rage than she usually does. And her attention, even while Sierra is speaking, and an ear has twitched to Sierra, but she's still staring down Kate. And
Kate
answering
moves,
Sierra,
she's not letting her walk away, but she's not actively looking aggressive.
Yeah.
Oh, Binary is.
Sierra is going to say.
Let me say the thing I was gonna say.
Oh, I'm sorry, Katie. Go ahead and say the
Why are you so mean? And yeah, so she, while still staring down Kate, will answer Sierra. I just want to take him home. Do it there.
I am okay with that. She'll look to Kate. Kate, you need to let this happen.
Kate will nod, but I'm being there too.
You are either heartless or stupid, and you don't deserve that. And she points again, very, very specifically at her throat. And we'll begin walking forward again, and if Kate does not move out of the way, she will get bowled out of the way by an agitated Krynos. Not struck, but definitely firmly shoulder checked in the process, if that's what it takes to get past her.
Sierra feels like there are parts of this story she's not understanding.
I know, right?
Dazzles is pretty sure she knows exactly what's going on. Shakes her head.
Kate does step out of the way, but she does continue to follow.
Sierra's probably going to go along too in case someone frenzies.
Yep. Cole is acting. Sorry.
Yeah, let the 2 hours accompany you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cole is acting very protective over Binary, and anyone that gets too close is going to get the body shield treatment.
Yeah, Sierra, as Cole comes up, Sierra is going to look over to Cole and say, I did hear you were forming a pact with these people. I am not meaning to get in the way of all of you grieving. I just do not want... I don't want any more death today.
Kate will whisper, Lefty wouldn't want this.
I'm sorry, Nikki. That was very muffled.
Oh, she just said Lefty wouldn't want this.
Yeah, Kate whispers, Lefty wouldn't want this.
And Cole, when Sierra says what she says, takes in a sharp, deep breath and just says, I get that. I do. I respect what you're trying to do. And I agree. Nobody else even needs to get hurt today. But the wounds are still fresh. And Lefty's not even cold yet.
She nods.
And yeah, once Binary clears that initial hurdle, she's not like running. She's not trying to make off with the body. She's just ambling back to the skeleton of this treehouse that they were building and plunks down again at the base of the tree.
And Cole follows her with his eyes and looks back to Sierra and says, there's a lot of tension and a lot of raw feelings right now. And again, I know what my rank is. And I know that I'm new here. But if anyone has a problem with Binary saying goodbye and holding on to what little she has left, they can challenge me or fuck off.
Sierra's gonna step up. She's not looking Cole in the eye, so she's not trying to get turned. And she will say,
no, Cole's not looking in the eyes either.
Yeah. I love how the Black Fury are like tap dancing around each other. It's great. But Sierra will look at it and say, I can understand that. And I am more than happy to give you and yours your space. I would just like to ask one thing of you and Binary.
He nods.
You don't have to move him from here. But please, allow Kate to say goodbye. I don't know what their issues were, but it's obvious she shook up about this. She deserves that much.
There's a right for these sort of things. And when that time comes, everyone will have their chance.
I was as close to him as she was. Why don't I get the same respect? If not closer.
Because you ran to someone else.
Excuse you?
When you give him back that.
I never gave it back.
When you give it back.
I'm not giving it back.
Then I will not forgive you for what you did.
I never did anything to him.
You chose that Tumblr talking, scrawny ass, coyote asshole over him.
I did not.
You did.
I did not. How dare you?
You knew him for less than a week and you called him family? How long were we with you? You wanted us to accept that shit-talking asshole?
No.
And made him more important than we were to you.
I never asked you to accept him.
But you wanted to be in our pack.
Of course I did.
And you wanted him to be your father. Did you think we would never have to see him, never have to speak to him?
Binary. You were my family. You are my family. Both of you.
But that wasn't good enough.
No, How could that not be good enough?
Because you still wanted that man you barely knew, to sign stupid human papers.
You don't know what you're talking about, Binary.
And you don't know how much he hurt because of you.
I do know how much he hurt.
Because of you. And you
Dazzles
choosing
will step
someone
up.
else.
Dazzles will step up, and she will say, "Enough! Both of you don't know the extent of what you're talking about. Lefty would not want this. Take that body away, and you won't see him until the right."
Does anyone make a move to take the body?
Did Dazzles just tell like the squad to do that?
She said, "If I have to, if you don't stop, I will take the body and
Okay.
you won't see him until the
Okay.
right."
I didn't
didn't
hear
get that
if I
first
heard to. I just heard take
Yeah.
the body.
Yeah.
And I was
Yeah,
like,
that's all
oh shit.
I was like, it's
Did I
getting
cut out?
real.
Yeah, you must have cut out
Yeah,
for like
you did.
those key 3 words or something, because for a second I
Yeah,
thought shit
that's
was
what I
about to get serious.
She
Yeah.
said, "If I have to, I will take the body and you won't see him until the right."
So
There's
Sierra's
an unmistakable bristle.
And Cole like puts out a hand, like stands between Kate and Binary and says,
Kate didn't make a move. She didn't step forward at all or anything.
"Well, no, not accusing or anything, but like, yeah, he's just being defensive when he pipes up and says, look, I don't know what happened here. I'm sure there are a lot of people that have no idea what happened here, but please, just give Binary this time, and everyone will be able to pay their respects to Lefty."
If Binary gets this time, then I do.
Oh, you went out. We couldn't hear any of that.
What?
I think you're
You didn't transmit.
Oh, I'm sorry. She says, if Binary gets this time, then so do I.
Hey, it's all good.
Please be patient. If that is something that you cannot do, then you may challenge me.
Binary.
Here's near Twitch.
2 minutes. Give Kate 2 minutes to say goodbye to Lefty.
There's a blatantly hostile bristle.
Yeah, Sierra's gonna say, do you really want to force this issue right now? 2 minutes. 120 seconds. I will let you count.
The lips curl.
Cole walks over to Binary, and he puts a comforting hand on her and gets brings his head close to hers, just enough to be in private speaking range, and says, "I'm doing what I can, and you have this time with Lefty.
Sierra
But at
looks
some point, they're going to have to take him away for the right. We don't have to leave his side, but to let them do their right and to have a ceremony for him, there will have to be a time when no one is touching him."
And she proceeds to kind of fall apart. She doesn't loosen up her hold, but she turns her head up. He was the one who took care of me.
I know. Cole wraps his arms around her. I know.
It's not fair.
It's not. And that's something that we have to live with for the rest of our lives.
And if a Kratos can ugly cry, She's managing it.
But we have to say goodbye.
Not yet.
No. But things have escalated. And it's just about that time.
All she had to do was leave him alone like she did before.
We can talk.
You know what? Fuck, it's here. It's going to take another point of rage.
We can talk about this later. We have all the time in the world, but too much is happening too fast, and there's only so much I can do. There's only so much we can do.
And she just curls up around the body. Piteously. And heaving sobs are ugly enough when someone's in Hamid. It's a lot uglier in Krynos. And she'll do that. By the time the 2 minutes have run out, she'll be just rocking and clutching the body.
Come on, Binary. Say what you've got to say, and then say goodbye.
Oh, God, Katie needs to blow her nose. Hold on.
Lefty wanted you to be strong. I want you to be strong. And this is what it's going to take.
But I'm not strong enough, and I'm not good enough.
Only you can change that, Binary. And I'm here to help you. What I'm saying right now is what you have to do. I wish there was another way. I wish there was something else we could do. But this is it. And it's time.
There's a soft voice from behind you as Wisdom of the Earth walks up. If you were not strong enough or good enough, you would not have been asked to pack with him. To say those things now is to call him a liar. We would not want to do that. He was a brave Geru. He died with honor. And she puts a hand on Dazzle's shoulder, comfortingly. It is hard to lose one that is close to us. With our society, it happens far too often.
Cole will stroke Binary's hair just a couple of times. And with his free hand, he'll make a motion for Lefty and stop stroking her hair to slowly try and pick him up.
And yeah, she doesn't like it. And she shifts a bit, but she won't actively keep him from gingerly pulling him out of her arms.
Cole, once he has Lefty, he'll stand all the way up and shift with Lefty for just a second, squeeze him a little tighter, and he'll walk over to Dazzles and offer him.
Dazzles will take him into her arms. As she looks down at him, forehead. and tears start streaming down her face again. She motions for Kate to come with her. She just walks a few feet away and sits down.
Kate follows, silently crying the entire way.
Dazzles Raya. I did everything I could, and the people who did this are no longer breathing by my hand.
Thank you for bringing him back.
And he nods.
He was my cub. He might not be a cub anymore, but he was still my cub.
He was a good man. A good Garu. An example for the nation. You did well.
She smiles. Thank you. She smiles and she says, thank you. Tears are just streaming down her face. It's as if as soon as she touched him, it just hit her that he was gone.
Cole makes his way back over to Binary and comforts her as best he can.
Dazzles will motion for Kate to come over.
Kate does.
And go ahead.
I'm not sure how Binary is holding him.
Dazzles.
I meant Dazzles, sorry.
Dazzles has him kind of cradled in her arms but sprawled out on her lap.
Kate will. Yeah, I know. It's because I have to mute myself when other people are talking. Kate will sink to her knees and very gently lay his head like very on the edge of her lap. And she leans over him, tears streaming down her face. And Dazzles will be able to hear this, however, very faintly. If anyone else wants to hear it, they're probably going to have to roll for it. But she starts singing. I don't mind walking around this open, empty house. So hold my hand, I'll walk with you, my dear. The stairs creak as I sleep, keeping me awake. The house telling you to close your eyes. And some days I can't even trust myself. It's killing me to see this life. It's so true, my very. I shouldn't be hearing a body's sick.
Hold her hand out and stroke Binary's back, or not Binary, Kate's back.
It's become clear that Kate can no longer finish that song now. She just leans down and whispers, I'll see you in the wildlands.
And after that is finished, Dazzles will take him to prep him for the rite, which will happen tomorrow. If anyone wants to visit Lefty between now and then, they're more than welcome to do so. He'll be in the heart of the cairn. To everybody. And I think with that, we can end our scene. Thank you, players, for playing. We'll see you next time.